Welcome to the Marketing Mentor Podcast with Ilise Benun, founder of marketing-mentor.com and author of 7 books, including The Creative Professional's Guide to Money. Since 2008, Ilise has been interviewing her clients and other successful professional creatives who are doing what it takes to stop the feast or famine syndrome, get better clients, and command the fees they deserve, and sharing the nuts and bolts of what they've learned so you can do it too. You can find more at marketing-mentor.com. And now, here's Ilise Benun.
Is designing wine labels one of your dream projects? It is for a lot of designers, some of whom are willing to lose money to have the work in their portfolio, but not Cynthia Sterling. When Cynthia came to Marketing Mentor in 2011, she worked from home with one employee, was dissolving a long partnership and reinventing her firm. Together, she and I decided that the strongest positioning would be a focus on wine and spirits, 2 related markets she had some experience in. We devised a strategy for her, and 4 years later, she and I talked about how that positioning was working out. This is Ilise Benun of marketing-mentor.com. Listen to what she had to say.
My name is Cynthia Sterling, and I have a 5-person branding and packaging design agency in Napa, California. And we specialize in branding, packaging design, naming, and story development for wine and spirits brands.
Beautiful. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast is because when we worked together a couple of years ago, we focused on a transition you were making from being in a partnership and changing the name of your company and using that opportunity, as I recall, to strengthen and strengthen your positioning and really identify what that was. So if you would talk from that point of view, at the beginning of our process, or even go back further if that is helpful, about your positioning process.
Yeah, so I started the firm with a partner in late 1997, and we worked together for about 12 or 13 years, and we just really had a different vision for what we wanted out of the business. And from the beginning of my career, because I live in Napa Valley, of course, we did a lot of wine. And all of the years that I worked for another firm, and then when I started my own company, I always did wine, but always also felt like we should be expanding into other specialty foods. And we did a little bit of that. And when we started working together, Ilise, I had just split with my business partner and was in the process of reinventing my firm. And I think you worked with me while I was going through a very extensive, elaborate naming exercise. The company name used to be Sterling Cross Creative. And after trying on all kinds of really inventive words and lots of different possibilities, we finally landed with Sterling Creative Works, which is not a very dramatic change, but it made the most sense to our clients. And Sterling is my surname, but it's also got some good meaning, so we like that. And as far as positioning, at that time, we had a very strong portfolio in the wine category and 1 or 2 samples in the spirits category. And we had done a fair amount of specialty food and beverage as well. And it was always a struggle to get find the time to do the marketing that I needed to do. And I was kind of intermittent about that. So I would market, get really busy, do no marketing for 6 months or whatever, and then get really slow, and then market, and so forth. And I think a lot of designers have that same pattern. And I knew that it wasn't a good model because I'd experienced all of those peaks and valleys, and we really needed to be more consistent. And so in working with you, Ilise, we decided to really focus on the wine and spirits, with the wine being the initial focus and then growing into building a broader spirits portfolio. So kind of letting go of the idea of pursuing more specialty food and beverage, but not reaching out to those people, but also not taking those samples off of our website or out of our portfolio, because at that time we weren't ready to walk away from that business.
And I think that's a really important point, Cynthia, that when you're in the process of positioning yourself, which I keep trying to emphasize is a process and takes time, then as you decide where to focus, it doesn't mean it's at the exclusion or disappearance of everything else. It really is more about what actions you take, what you pursue, and then, the work that comes to you, you can decide on a case-by-case basis whether or not to take it, whether or not it fits in the positioning, whether or not you need the money, but that it's more about what you are proactively pursuing and what the message is that you need to convey to the people you're pursuing.
That's so true. And that was really helpful when you and I talked about that several times, because it can be really scary to focus more narrowly. In reality, what happened was I was able to be much more consistent in my outreach and be a lot more focused in my the content that I produced for our newsletter and our website focus, so that, like you said, it wasn't that I was walking away from opportunities. If an opportunity came our way outside of the wine and spirits, we would evaluate that on a case-by-case basis, and we could always choose to take it. But the outreach and the focus for my marketing efforts was around wine and spirits, and that allowed me to be a lot more consistent and relevant, I think, to my prospects, which helped us to build our business much larger than it was at that time. We went from, I think you and I were working together, we were 1 or 2 people, and now we're 5 and growing.
That's great. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but coming up with the tagline that you use, smart design for indulgence brands, was also an important part of that positioning process. Talk a little bit about that.
That tagline was a way for us to talk about what we do really well, which is design brands that convey a premium value and premium price, support a premium price point. And wine certainly does that. A lot of consumers really cannot tell the difference between the flavor of a $50 bottle of wine and a $9 bottle of wine. So the packaging is a really important part of their perception of what the value is. And that also applied to the kinds of specialty food and beverage that we did. So it was inclusive enough that nobody felt like they didn't fit that. I mean, of course, there's some categories that don't fit that, but those weren't the categories that we would be good at doing anyway. So any of the prospects that would be a good fit for us, including the food, could look at that tagline and feel like they were included. And yet it allowed us to focus more on the wine and spirits specifically. Beautiful.
Because I do think people are sometimes confused about what the purpose of a tagline is, especially in relation to the name. If the name is doing one job, then the tagline has to do another job.
I think a tagline needs to, it's an opportunity to kind of expand on your positioning. The name may or may not convey a whole lot about what you specifically do, and the tagline can help to get that across quickly.
So it's been a couple of years since you put this positioning in place. How has it evolved?
It just felt so good when I was able to focus my energy on my niche and not spread myself as thin. It took quite a while to get really comfortable with the direct outreach. And you're right, that is really important because that's what produces the most results. And I think all of the credibility builders, like the writing and the newsletter and the website and some of the awards that we've won and our other social media channels that we participate in, help to build our credibility. But people usually hear about us either through word of mouth from a former client or from my direct outreach and introducing myself. So the marketing, the specialization and focus on this niche has really helped me do a better job of that and get comfortable with that, because not only it seems so obvious in retrospect that if you have a big portfolio in a particular area and you have a lot of expertise in that area, that's the perfect target market for you. But somehow it wasn't as obvious in the moment. And then once I started reaching out and really connecting with some of the top marketers and companies in this space, the response was just really validating. Everybody was very impressed with our work and very interested in what I had to say. And we got a lot of opportunities because I really got clear on what we were about and what it is that we wanted to do.
So 2 questions come to my mind from there, because one is, I want you to be specific, if you would, about how you are reaching out to people. And also, a lot of people have been asking me lately, how long does it take? How do you know if you've chosen the right market, if this is a viable market for you? When do you know? Is it immediate? Is it obvious right away? How long do you think it really takes?
So the way I'm reaching out to prospects is through email. And I also have a newsletter. Honestly, our website has been redesigned twice in the last 5 years and needs another update because our conversion rate to getting people to sign up for our newsletter is not very strong, because our subscribe button is not very obvious. It's kind of hidden down at the bottom. So we need to increase our newsletter subscriber list. But those are the two main ways I would say: to emailing people directly with samples of our work or a case study or just a hello, this is who we are. If you're open to additional branding and packaging design resources, I would love to talk with you. And then phone calls, if I didn't say that. I also call people periodically as well, just to touch base and let them know that we are interested in working with them. And then the newsletter was monthly for a while. And then I switched it to quarterly because it takes me about 8 hours to write, edit, and publish a newsletter. I don't know if that's typical, but it just takes me a lot of time. And so I reduced it to every quarter, and then we got really busy and I didn't publish a newsletter for about 1.5 years. And we've just restarted our newsletter. And because I've expanded my team, so I now have the bandwidth to do that again. And I intend to do that on a quarterly basis going forward.
Great. And so you said before also that when you started reaching out to people via email, the response was positive. And I wonder if you can just articulate and be specific about, what it is that tells you that, yes, this is the right place for us to be. This is working. We need to keep doing that. Or, what response can you have imagined that would have made you think, maybe this is not the right positioning. I need to tweak it.
The response that I get that confirms that we're reaching out to the right people is, they respond, and they respond with interest. So I certainly don't get a response to every email I send, and I don't get much callback from voicemails that I leave. But when I do get a response, it's something like really nice work. We don't have any projects right now, but please keep me on your list because, we're interested in working with you in the future. So it's usually pretty explicit that, they see us as a good fit. And, if somebody's not a good fit, like I remember years ago when I had my business partner, we were really pursuing the food category, and we reached out to a major retailer that has a lot of house brands. And the creative director there was really generous in his feedback. And I see it as a real gift because he said, look, you guys do specialty foods and a lot of wine. And our product line is much different from that. And I don't really see you guys as a fit. So, that was really valuable information. And I find that if I approach people with the attitude that I'm sharing what it is we do, and I feel really confident that what we do is very valuable, and I want to know if they see a potential fit. And if not, that's fine. No hard feelings, just checking in. And that way people feel comfortable saying, I really do, but we have this strong relationship with another design firm, but keep in touch. Or, yes, as a matter of fact, I have a project. Or, we really aren't interested, but that's pretty rare that I get that. So that's how I know that we're in the right market. And you also asked how long it takes to know. And I just think I knew right away because I started getting just really positive feedback. And I started getting really clear on not only what category we wanted to work in and what kind of services we offered, but what it was that I was passionate about and my team was passionate about, which is building brands that are very robust and have a real reason for consumers to care, a deep kind of meaningful story behind them. And as soon as I started talking about that in my newsletters and in interviews with prospective clients, I'd finish talking and they'd say, "You're in." It was just really powerful. And I'll never forget one of my very favorite clients those were her exact words. And I just, tried not to scream and jump up and down while I was still on the phone with her. It's very validating. I think it's partly a gut sense. I mean, we can tell when we're having a conversation with someone if they want to be talking to us or if they're just really annoyed that we even called. And sometimes they're also very explicit, which is helpful.
So one of the fears I hear people expressing when they're thinking about positioning themselves and choosing a niche is this fear of alienating prospects. So I want to ask, do you think you're alienating prospects?
No, I don't. We certainly are not getting any more non-wine spirits projects than we were when we were thinking we wanted that. But so you asked a little bit about the evolution of the process. And about 2 years ago, I got just really comfortable that this is our niche. This is what we have to offer the world. We are experts in this space. That is a valuable position to be able to claim. And I stopped wanting to work as much with the specialty food and beverage producers. They just weren't as good a fit. And the project size that we were getting from those companies and the budgets that we were getting from those companies weren't as good as what we got from those clients that were really meant to serve. So I started turning those away on a selective basis. I don't get a lot of calls, but we were doing a lot of work with a cheese company and a lot of work with a tortilla company. And it was a really, they were very pleased with our work. But it wasn't, our focus was really elsewhere. And so I kind of stopped pursuing that business and eventually they kind of, went away, which was fine.
Good. One more question for you, actually two. One is, because again, one of the fears or the reasons people say for not focusing on a particular niche is there's not going to be enough work there for us. It's too narrow. And my own experience personally and through clients is that you have no idea sometimes how deep once you start becoming competent in a particular niche, how deep it could go. Is that your experience, Cynthia?
Absolutely. I was surprised, even having worked with this industry for so long, to discover the amount of work that was, available in this category. It did. There is a challenge in the space, the specialty that I've chosen, that designers love doing wine and spirits labels. It's something that everybody thinks is kind of fun. It's like a dream project. So there is a lot of competition, and it is challenging, and that has been, it keeps me on my toes, that's for sure. And there are people out there who are willing to do projects for much less than is profitable even for them in order to have something like this in their portfolio. As long as I keep talking about the expertise that we bring to the table and focusing on the people who can tell the difference, there's been plenty of work. There hasn't been any difficulty with a lack of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Good. And I guess that makes me also wonder, this will be my last question. You just mentioned the people who can tell the difference, right? How do you know who those people are?
That's an interesting question. Well, for us and what we do, we usually work with high-level marketers in large organizations that own multiple brands. And they're very educated about buying design, and they're very educated about brand strategy. So they understand the value of having a partner who really understands the category, understands strategy, and designs against a strategy rather than just designing something because it looks cool. And when we talk to these people, as long as we keep our language consistent around, this is what we offer, this is what we do, this is what sets us apart, the ones that respond to that well and appreciate that are the right clients for us. The ones who kind of aren't interested in hearing that and are talking about, just kind of what's the price, and what if we just, what if you just show us one option? What would the price be then? They just don't value us as a partner. They want a commodity, and they want it for the lowest price that they can get. And the language that they use when I'm talking to them makes that really clear. And so that's how we know who's a good fit and who isn't. Was that the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, no, absolutely. That's exactly, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. You answered it beautifully. So good. Cynthia, tell people where they can find your website and see your crystal clear positioning.
We are at Sterling Creative Works with an S on the end.com. And most of our portfolio is there, and you'll see that we still do have categories other than wine and spirits up there. But at some point pretty soon, I think we're going to be taking those down.
Beautiful. And again, just that reinforces the step-by-step aspect of this process. Thanks so much to Cynthia Sterling of Sterling Creative Works for sharing what she's learned. You can find her site at sterlingcreativeworks.com with an S. This is Ilise Benun of marketing-mentor.com. And if you like what you hear and want more, go to the website and sign up for my quick tips and special deals, and I'll be back again soon.
Thanks for listening. Now go try out what you've learned. If you like what you hear, you can go to marketing-mentor.com and sign up for Elise's quick tips from Marketing Mentor and her free 30-minute mentoring session to get your burning questions answered. Check out what's on sale in the Marketing Mentor shop, like the Pick a Niche Kit, proposal bundles for designers and copywriters, and the 30 Minutes a Day marketing plan. Ilise is also the host of the How Design Live podcast, a programming partner for How Design Live, the largest design conference, and you can learn all about that at howdesignlive.com. Until next time.